This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Don't mistake the new me for the old me. They can't stop me now, I'm with the home team. No beginner, I'm a winner. Took a couple losses, now I'm cooking, let me simmer. Yeah, tunnel vision, all I see is win, 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 win. This my city section where you been. We move faster alone, but go further together. We can weather any weather forever. A dream team, I done seen things. Confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like, Forget the things you probably thought you knew. A new day is approaching, turn the gray skies into blue. I grew up on these same blocks, school of hard knocks. Had to get it on a hard top, took the hard shots, but we made it. Anticipated, highly decorated. The home team is winning, celebrated. The victory is all mine, and everything is alright. And you know I done seen things, confidence is on 100,000. I got family for miles, running up the mileage. Made it through some trials and some tribulations. Now me and the team out here celebrating, yeah. This is where we come from, yeah, we did it. City on my back, I'm committed. This is where we come from, yeah, we made it. Now the whole team celebrating. We like,
All right, what up? What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Spike Kool-Aid. Man, it has been literally 2 months to the day since I have done a show, but I am motivated today to get this thing going and hopefully keep it up for a while. I am going to shout everybody out in the chat. What's up, Fresh and Fly? I got to fix this, man. I got to fix this. It's hanging kind of low. It's hanging kind of low, bro. And this thing, I had to tighten it up. Shout out Fresh and Fly, Braylon Vash. How you doing, sir? We got Bruce Morton in the building. Hey, Bruce, I know you love that glance, man. The glance is amazing. They keep adding new things to it, bro. I'm glad you got it. What up, Quick? Hey, what's up? Nobody cares who says what up, though. Is anybody else hyped for this return of Spike Kool-Aid? I appreciate that, bro. The new one, what's up, One Age? What up? Pierce Sargent says, Dan better not give that play sheet back. We got Jerry in the building, says, what up? What a game. We need Dan, the man, to call plays. Can't wait until Reed returns. What up, Doe? Boogie, what up? Let me see, 2 for 9. 2 for 9 or wait, 2 for 29 or 2 for 50, bro. What's up? All right, so here we go. We are back, and that date is wrong. I have to change my date. Give me a second real quick. Let me do this, then do this, then go here. So I did find out that Woodward was, that they are going to be back tomorrow. From the looks of how everything panned out, and the only reason I'm bringing them up is because somebody asked me about them last week. So from the looks of what happened, the fact that they have been gone for 7 days, it looks like that they will return tomorrow. And it does appear that there was some type of YouTube ban, which is kind of funny. They've been on for a long time. And for them just now to get they got some type of either guideline strike or copyright strike, one of the two. And that's why they have not been there. Because I actually saw today, because I wanted to see if they were back. And I saw today somebody responded in the comments of their last live stream that they will be back tomorrow. So if somebody disappears out of nowhere, it's probably has something to do with YouTube guidelines or copyright. So they will be back tomorrow for those who cares. What up? What's up? We got Studios. What's up? Let me see. probably doing film study footage. Hey, bro, studios, if they were doing oh my God. If they were doing film study live, and see, that's why you need an actual YouTuber, okay? You will never see anybody who knows YouTube, they know not to do NFL film study live of any sort, all 22, broadcast footage in particular. You cannot do that, bro. The NFL does not play around, because what happens is if they catch, so for instance, you've got, okay, so a couple weeks ago, I made a Ben Johnson video, and it was in regards to how he responded to the reporter that he misheard. And so that entire clip was copywritten. It was claimed, and there was no football being shown. But what I found out is that because that clip was part of the CBS broadcast, it was instantly claimed. You cannot do live film study of the NFL footage in any regard, man. It has to be taped because it's too risky to do. I don't know, bro. Who was doing film study? A Quick says, Braylon says, where should have stayed on? I think we have a great chance to beat the Eagles since they have a short week and probably will be a little fatigued after the fight. Oh, they had Braylon doing film study. Oh, yeah, bro. You cannot do that. Braylon, not yet. I probably won't have him up for the year, to be honest with you. I could try to get it going and see what's going on, but I'm right now I'm talking to the software company trying to figure out how to bring in guests without them hearing an echo, because like I said, I want to add some new things to the show. But if you were not in the show yesterday, we will have the next best thing. We will have, and I wanted to keep this close to the chest because, you know, we got thieves on YouTube, people who watch you intently to try to mimic you and get out in front of you and take your segments. But I'll put it out there because look, I'm good at what I do. I'm the best, you know what I'm saying? So we will there's actually a call-in number, the Lion Syndicate fan hotline. You guys can call in, leave your message of your fan take, and I will potentially bring that message live on air in a video form. As a matter of fact, what we could do is we could do it. We could take questions maybe during a live show. But yes, you know what? That's crazy because any real YouTuber, they don't have any YouTubers on their staff. A YouTuber would have told him not to do that. That's crazy. I can't believe that. Maybe that YouTube ban for Woodward Sports was out of good luck, being stuck on Facebook for their live streams. What's up, Justin May, the rapper, says, win big win, great game. Finally, we beat Washington. Absolutely. Our defense needs to tighten up against the Eagles. Call in anytime. Yes. Yep. It's an anytime number. All you do is leave a message, and it's kind of like 97 won a ticket, the fan hotline. You can call in, leave a message, and then if we had like 7 calls last night, so I don't know if I'll bring in all the takes, but if the take is good, I'll bring it in and we'll have a discussion on air. Lion Syndicate is the best. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get into it, man. All right, so first and foremost, let's talk about the slap, that Deron Payne slapped Amon-Ra St. Brown. You know, I forgot. Shout out to the person that sent me an email today that Javon Kinlaw is the same guy that had a beef with Grant Cohen, and he's just a disgrace, bro. That this guy tried to put it on Amon-Ra and was like, well, Amon-Ra punched him first, but the refs didn't see that. Nobody saw that. Nobody saw the NFL, the broadcast footage didn't even catch that, but he slapped him. So Deron Payne, very out of character, slapped Amon-Ra St. Brown. He will be suspended for 1 game, as he should be. You know what I find funny is nobody is talking about this like they were with Brian Branch. Why is Deron Payne, why is he not getting the same treatment that Brian Branch got? What is it? Because we lost the game? Is that why? Because it was Patrick Mahomes? I mean, we already know why. But you weigh 300 and some pounds. Amon-Ra a solid 200. What are you slapping the dude for, bro? You too big. And they were already talking junk. Like, what are you talking for, man? You done lost 5 in a row. What are we talking about? Is it 5 in a row or 6 in a row now? So what I'm going to do is I am going to try my best, my absolute best, and I do mean this, to be live on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, especially until we hit at least like the off season. Like, I'm really going to try. I have a lot of stuff going on, but I look, I turned 46 this month. My birthday has already passed. All right. But I I'm to the point now where I don't care what people say. Like, it took me a while to just not only not care what people say, but to try to be like, okay, let it roll off your back. I got bigger fish to fry. I'm trying to build something here. I'm trying to legitimately build something special, and I don't have time to be worried about what people think of me. Dan needs to say, A Quick says, yeah, he was out of pocket. I like that Detroit song that plays on this YouTube channel after the show ends here. Yes, Justin May the Rapper. That is a great song. It was from a show called The Detroiters. Dan needs to stay the primary play caller till further notice. Serves him right that he got suspended. Hey, appreciate that. I'm glad that you are feeling better, bro. Thank you, Justin May the Rapper. I appreciate that. Happy belated birthday. Keep up the good work. Thank you. I just said, the only reason I mentioned that is because I didn't want y'all to think it was coming. It's already passed. But I am 46 now, and I am ready to like, I'm in the middle age, kind of, you know what I'm saying? Where it's kind of like, you got to get to a point where you just start letting stuff go. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where I'm at. Now, there are particular, that's not going to say I'm not going to be petty, because I am going to be petty. Y'all ever seen 4th and 1? 4th and 1, you got Cam Newton, how petty he is with my man with the big hats. That dude, I'm going to remain petty. That's still going to be part of me. But as far as other things, like, I can't be bothered with Twitter feuds and stuff like that, man. Look, I'm trying to be alive when my teams wins the Super Bowl. That's what I'm trying to do. 46 going on 80. Hey, facts. What up? Morning, Dern. What up? Says, what's the weather like in Michigan right now? It's still warm out here in Arizona. I was in the pool for the weekend. Yes, Gilly, for real. It is currently 30 degrees. It is 30 degrees here in Michigan. I'm going to tell you what, just a little bit about my state, bro. I love the state of Michigan. I really do. I couldn't imagine living, well, maybe California. I couldn't imagine really living anywhere else. But one thing about Michigan, we do not get a spring or a fall. Of course we do, right? We get, my son yesterday was like, I can't believe it's still fall, right? We barely got 2 weeks of fall. It was 50 degrees. It was 55. It was great. You go outside, the sun, crisp air, and then boom, snowflakes, snowfall. It's crazy. Love my state, bro. But spring, it's either winter or summer. We don't get a spring. Well, we get more of a spring than a fall. But fall, you blink your eye, bro, and fall is gone. And we had snow on the ground yesterday. Duran says, I took a much-needed nap, LOL. What's up, Schiff? Hey, appreciate that, my man. Thank you, Jalen. That man is hilarious. Yeah, hey, I don't want any negative attention than it brought already. Nobody cares. What are we talking about, man? Pump for the Eagles game. I can't believe that y'all trying to make me not go. Like, y'all like, don't go to the game. I'm like, bruh. It's 36 here in St. Louis. I feel like my kids are missing out on what I grew up with. Yeah. Justin May the Rapper says, where can I find that Detroit song on YouTube? Justin May the Rapper, type in the Detroiters theme and you will find it there. Okay. All right. What's up, Steve? What's going on? All right. So let's get into it, man. Let me make sure this is. Oh, see. All right. Hold on, y'all. Don't go nowhere. See, they messing me up. Don't go nowhere. I'll be right back. Yeah. Okay. Don't just stay here. Cause don't go anywhere. All right. We should be back now. All right. So hopefully this works now. So my, fall lasts about 5 days. So my button, first of all, YouTube has changed its layout. I really don't like it. I got to get used to it. I haven't been live over here in so long. They changed the layout, but my buttons were not working and I need them to work. All right. So here's what we're going to do. Let me pop this out real quick. And we are going to talk about Johnny Morton. All right, there we go. All right, we're going to talk about Johnny Morton and the play calling yesterday and how Dan Campbell decided that he was going to take over play calling for Johnny Morton. And this was decided after the Minnesota Viking game. So when Johnny Morton got in front of the media, it's kind of weird now that you go back and you think about it. So John Morton got in front of the media in his weekly press conference. He blamed the players for the lack of success. He blamed everybody but himself. We found out yesterday that Dan Campbell informed Johnny Morton that he would be taking over play calling this particular game on Monday after the loss to Minnesota. So when Johnny Morton got in front of the media, he knew that he wasn't going to be calling the plays on Sunday against the team we just played. Escaping me at the moment. So for me, what does this mean? What do we want to see going forward? Now, I love Dan Campbell, and I know I give Brad Holmes a lot of flack, and I think it's well-deserved. Brad Holmes is not, he to me doesn't take the same responsibility that Dan takes. Dan Campbell is a man of the people. He will take responsibility when we fail. He will throw himself under the bus. The only time I've ever seen him kind of tiptoe the line was back in his first year when Jared Goff was playing awful football and there was a chance that he would have gotten benched. Dan Campbell was upset at Goff's play. He almost benched him, but he never did. That was the most frustrated I think I've seen Dan Campbell. We've seen the man cry. We've seen him take responsibility and ownership. I love this guy. And I want to see nothing but success for him. Don't get me wrong. I want to see Brad Holmes as well. I want to see that, and we'll talk about him later today as well. But when it comes to Johnny Morton, what does this mean toward the future? Dan Campbell in the presser yesterday said that it was a collaborative effort, that everyone involved, that he was calling the plays, but he was listening to Johnny Morton. Somebody compared John Morton to Anthony Lynn a couple years ago. And Jared Goff, Dan Campbell both said it's totally different. It's a totally different thing. And how that Johnny Morton was contributing to the play calling, that he was vital to the success of yesterday's win against the Washington Commanders. There it is. So the question that I have for you is, what should we expect going forward? Are you going to be upset if Dan Campbell fully gives back play calling to John Morton? That is going to be the question. Bonzilla says Morton is done. Okay, so do you guys think that this is a similar situation to Anthony Lynn? What I mean is this. Anthony Lynn was publicly demoted. It was all over the media in Detroit. There was no denying, there was no kind of secret that Anthony Lynn was demoted. But what we did, we didn't let him go. We just gave him a different position and said that he would be, he would remain on staff until the end of the season. He had a 1-year deal. We let him go. And then the rest is history. Wound up having Ben Johnson, and the rest is we go from there. But do you think that that's what's happening with Johnny Morton? Do you think that Dan is officially taking over? Or do you think it was... Now, Dan said in the presser yesterday that they needed a change. They needed to try something new. And that was him calling the play calls with the collaborative effort. I'm not convinced that Dan has turned the page on Johnny Morton. The 1H says, I'm cool if Dan play calls the next two or switch every other game. Morton has a one-and-done history in the NFL for a reason. He's got a Bobby Ross approach to coaching. Dern says, keep the play calling for the Eagles and then let him try again with the Giants. You know what? I could see that too. I could see where maybe we let Dan Campbell call against the good teams and Johnny Morton call against the not so good teams. And the Giants are not so, they've given up 2 leads. They should have won that game against the Bears yesterday. Jackson Dart goes out. The rest is history. And I'm not going to put it all on Russell Wilson, but if Dan coaches against the Eagles, let's say, Dan, we use the same approach for the Eagles game, and then we come back against the Giants, right? Because that's our next home game is against the Giants on the 20th. Dan, what is Dan going to do? Is Dan going to get back in for the Packers? Because you gotta understand this too. If you're going to, Dan needs to say, you know what, we're going to do it this way, or we're going to do it that way. Because Not to say that, I mean, like Johnny Morton is older. He's been in the NFL for a while, so I don't know how much of a confidence thing it is. But if you keep on kind of going back and forth, if there was any confidence from Johnny Morton, because if Johnny Morton was calling the plays during that game where the 3-game stretch where we put up 140 points, then he's not that bad. But you could see a difference yesterday with spreading the ball around. And so what I think yesterday was Johnny, you know what? Let me show you how it's done. Let me show you how we spread the ball around, because you saw Jamison Williams was targeted 7 times. He caught 6 passes. He was the leading scorer for the Detroit Lions. That is how you spread the ball around. Jamison has been quiet, doing his job. I mean, before we're talking about 1-2 targets, maybe. There were games we're like, is the dude even in the game? So for me, I think that this is a kind of a changing point for the Detroit Lions, but I feel like that Dan is going to give it back to John. I think he's going to do that. I think that he might, I don't know. I don't know if he'll do it this game. Maybe he'll do it against the Giants, because if you're thinking about it, we got the Giants and the Packers. Then it's like, you know, boom, boom, boom. The Steelers will be a really good game to see, you know what, Johnny, do you have what it takes? Do you have, because the Steelers got the highest paid defense in the NFL. They cannot move the ball on offense, though. So it would be good to see how Johnny Morton does against the Steelers. So for me, I don't know what this means. I know it means that the play calling is better. I think Dan Campbell, he has to make a decision. I think you either gotta give it to him. I give him a chance against the Giants, or because see, if you keep giving him chances against bad teams, you're not going to learn anything. We already know what he can do against bad teams. It's the good teams. And the Washington Commanders were a bad team, but we put up 44 points. That's what we should have done to the Minnesota Vikings. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We should have spanked that team. Look at what happened to them yesterday. We should have wiped the floor at home. We should have destroyed them. If Dan Campbell was calling the plays, I think we would have destroyed them. Yeah, the offensive line was in flux. Yeah, we lost a guy on the offensive line. But still, man, our firepower, we didn't go in. And even with that, we went into that week 10 with the number 2 offense in scoring. We still had the number 8 offense in yards. So this team, I don't know what's going to happen, but Campbell showed what he can do yesterday with the glasses, with the sexy specs on, man. And it's going to be a lot of, because the last time, I mean, we didn't have to worry about this with the snake. We didn't have to worry about this, man. And now it's a thing. So I do believe that Morton is one and done. I mean, I was already seeing people were talking about Mike McDaniels, and turns out he might not even get fired after the way that the Miami Dolphins played yesterday. So I don't know, man. This year is big. It's big for the Lions, because we might have another change at OC next year. So we'll see. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. All right. So you saying when I'm moving my hand, I'm lagging? Okay. Hopefully it clears up, man. All right. Let me see what you sent me, Darn. Oh, wow. In week 10, Monday Night Football pending, the Lions offense ranked first in yards, tied for first in points, first in yards per play, first in EPA. This is coming from Jeremy Reisman. Wow. First in passer rating, third in completion over expected, second in yards per catch, first in EPA pass, second in EPA rush, 7 in rush success rate. Well, Dern, I'm sorry I didn't look at that before. Yo, that is crazy, bro. I get nervous looking at the chat because it might throw me off. In my opinion only says, I think he's cooked. We can't afford to lose again to any other bad team. I like Brian Branch at edge rush. All right. I know. Let me see. I want to see, because I didn't get a chance to check this. Does anybody know if the Lions are still second in sacks? All right. You know what? I want to do this too, because I'm starting to think, y'all, that there is a person that is playing lights out football, man. And I think that this guy, I'm starting to get more and more, I'm starting to believe more and more that he could win another Super Bowl. You guys know what I'm talking about, man. You guys know who I'm talking about. All right. So The Detroit Lions are now 4th in sacks under the Denver Broncos, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons. Detroit, Michigan, what up, though? Says, bro, if you going to the game next week and if we lose, you got to stop attending the games, bro. Just kidding. All right, so here's the deal. Why do I get all of the slack? Like, y'all give me all of it. Y'all don't blame nobody else for going. It's too easy goes every game. He go to every single game, bro. I'm the only one. Y'all don't say, well, the dude's sitting in a basement that they need to go to the game so that we don't lose. Why am I the only one that there's a superstition attached to? I don't understand that. I really don't understand that. Okay, so let's have another segment. All right, you guys know how I feel about sacks, specifically the edge rusher position. And I have been on Brad Holmes' head for 3 years. And this is going to be a big year for this team. The Detroit Lions went into week 10 ranked 2nd in sacks with 28. They got 2 from their defense on Sunday. Now they're at 30. Only a half a sack came from a defensive lineman. And that was the first sack from a defensive tackle in a half a sack in Roy Lopez. The Atlanta Falcons. You guys wonder why I'm so hard on Brad. The Atlanta Falcons had the worst pass rush in 2024. Do you know they rank now after 10 weeks? 5th. The Atlanta Falcons rank 5th in sacks, all of a sudden right under the Detroit Lions. The top billing is the Denver Broncos with a record high 46 sacks from 10 games. The Pittsburgh Steelers sit at number 2, the Seattle Seahawks at number 3, and the Detroit Lions at number 4, with the Atlanta Falcons being number 5. Not all sacks are created equal. We know that. Not all sacks. Now, so Aiden has 7. Al-Qadim Muhammad has what? Does he still have 5 or 6? I don't remember what he has, but let's give him 6. So now that's 13. Marcus Davenport has 1, so now that's 14. And you have no other defensive player on the D-line that has a sack outside of Roy Lopez's half, right? Is that correct? So now you have 14 and a half, which means that over half of your sacks have come from the secondary or the linebacker position. Now, Nick Bonito is officially a linebacker, but we all know he rushes the passer. We know he's the Brian Burns. Oh, speaking of Brian Burns, did y'all see him get absolutely pancaked yesterday? It was crazy. But anyway, so for me, I am concerned. And this is a great time to bring up the lack of properly addressing that position by Brad Holmes. Somebody put on Twitter yesterday, I had a conversation. You guys don't know this, but I am a very hot topic on Twitter because I am one of the rare people that criticize Brad Holmes when he needs criticism. He needs praise, he gets that, but he needs criticism as well. We are lacking at defensive end. We are lacking at our defensive line making plays. And when it all comes down to it, I think it's going to bite us in the rear end. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion. Lacey has some. Yes, Lacey has one. Does he have one? Okay. All right. Well, so with that being the case, do you think that the defensive line will, as a matter of fact, I will bring it up. Let's bring it up because I want to be sure because I could be incorrect. Let me bring up who has the sacks on the D-line because Lacey, I could be wrong. Maybe Lacey does have one. And we are going to bring that in because I want to make sure I give credit where credit is due. All right, so let me bring it in here. Here are the sacks from the Detroit Lions. Hutchinson leads the team with 7. Al-Qadim Muhammad is right behind him. Now, I didn't even know he was classified as a linebacker, but we all know he rushes the passer. Then you got Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, and Zaloni. You've got Wheat, who classifies as a DE. Okay, Lacey is a defensive tackle. That would be correct. What game did he get a sack in? So I was incorrect. I completely missed that. So after that, you've got Marcus Davenport. And then who else? That's it. That's it. So Brian Branch first sack was yesterday. Marcus Davenport, Trevor Nowalski, Lacey has one. I think that was that the Tampa Bay game? Alexander Zaloni. It's good to see him down here. But this, ladies and gentlemen, I just believe this is a problem. So if we look at our defensive line, people on the D line, we have. See, I thought Lacey was a defensive end, but okay, fine, that's fine. So we got Hutchinson and Mohammed. I mean, it says linebacker, but for the sake of this conversation, I'll give him the sacks for a defensive end. Now you see it right there. It says linebacker. But Brian Branch Brian Burns, Josh Hines Allen, those guys classify as linebackers as well. Kayvon Thibodeau is a linebacker, I believe. So, I mean, tomato. It is what it is. All right, so our defensive line has what is that, 13? And then you have 14, 15 and a half, 16 and a half. So half of our sacks have come from the D-line. The other half, that's a big number, though, guys. That's a big number. I don't know how I feel about that. I really don't know how I feel about that. So I don't know, man. To me, I just don't know if we have enough. I don't know if we have enough. And I look at other defensive lines, including the linebackers who rush the passer. And I'm like, man, their defense is everywhere. I was watching a game yesterday, and it's almost like we cannot get to Marcus Mariota. And you're watching defensive lines, how the quarterback has to step up in the pocket and he gets swallowed up, or he tries to escape and he can't go anywhere because their defense is fast. That defensive line is fast. So I don't know, man. I want to see a change this offseason. And I think that the reason I bring up Brad is because Brad is the one that put this team together. And we've discussed this in other videos. This guy has his work cut out for him next year. It may not seem like it, but if you dive into it, we got 4 people under contract on the defensive line. We got Alexander Zaloni's gone. What are we going to do? So we had this discussion before, but let me know what you think, man. Do you think the Detroit Lions defensive line is enough to take us all the way? All right, so y'all saying that Brian Dable got fired, huh? Dang. Wow, bro. Okay. All right, we got to talk about this, man. We've got to talk about this. So when I first saw my phone, they said no changes were coming or something like that. Brian Dable got fired. Wow. Just a couple years ago, this guy was coach of the year. Holy smokes. That's what they get, bro. They have dissed Dan Campbell for years. And guess who else might be fired? Another coach of the year might be fired. Kevin Stefanski might get fired, bro. This is crazy. I don't think it's an edge problem. I think we need more of the middle line. Hey, my opinion. Hey, either way, it's his fault. It's his fault, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you brought in Tyleek. You got it. Them guys ain't making no difference, bro. So, yeah, you just look at monsters in the middle. We don't have that. Aleem McNeil, he coming back. I'm going to give him a pass because the dude was a monster before he got injured. It was Hutch and him. So I will give Aleem McNeil a pass. But Brad Holmes, like, think about this. This is your defensive line for next year. You got Aleem McNeil and Tyleek. That's the middle. You got Hutch. That's it. You got one more. I think Lacey, somebody under contract. Oh, Mekhi Wingo. That's it. Like, that's it. Dable was a bad. Wow. So Dable got fired. Yo, this is big. This is big and frustrating at the same time. So the Giants didn't make any moves, right, at the deadline. So you lost the game before the deadline. You lose the game after did they win? I can't remember. You mean to tell me you couldn't have given away any picks? You couldn't have given away a player? Come on, dog. Wow. He let his QB and RB play too reckless. Wow. That's crazy, bro. Okay. All right. So what do y'all think? Do y'all think Brian Dable should be the next OC of the Detroit Lions? I would take him as OC. Ooh-wee. Adam Schefter, chef. Wow. Holy smokes. A day late and $1 short, bruh. Has any of y'all ever donated to Wikipedia? Because they be, oh, that's right. Dable was desperate to win. You could tell he when he rushed in the medical staff in that first game against the Eagles to get Dart out of the tent. Dart concussion was big yesterday. Wow, bro. Okay. All right. So let's do this. Hey, Kira. Hey, so Kira, we listen, I'm going to try my best, my absolute best to be in front of y'all. At least 3 times a week. At least. I don't know what time yet, though. And if anybody sees Dan's presser, like in the next hour or what half hour, let me know. I did check, and it was not there yet. Wow. Okay, let me bring up Twitter real quick, because I want to know. But you know he's going to be a hot commodity. You know he's going to be a hot commodity. I don't think we're going to get him. I don't think we're going to get him, man, because we are. I just don't think that. I think he's going to be like the dude could be a head coach somewhere. He could legit be a head coach somewhere else. He's being linked to back to Buffalo. Yup, I was going to say that. But hey, yo, if I'm Dan Campbell, I'm like, dog. I'm like, yo, I need you to come hey, look, just stay where you at. If you're not going to be a head coach, come coach for us, bro. Wow. All right, let's do it. Let me see. Do I still got this? It still works. All right. You know what? I'll use it. All right. All right. We got some breaking news. I think this might be the first time I've done breaking news on this channel, but we're going to talk about it on Lion Syndicate as well. Make sure y'all subscribe to Syndicate Sports Detroit Live. We're going to be trying to be live Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We got some news, man, and this is big for NFL teams, potentially the Detroit Lions. This is coming from Ian Rappaport, and it says that the Giants, after a week after the trade deadline, the Giants are firing Coach Brian Dable. Sources say a promising and frustrating season leads New York to have an opening. Well, this is the second coach now fired for the NFL season. He will join Brian Callahan, I believe his name was, with the Tennessee Titans, and this was expected. It's funny how this coach won Coach of the Year over Dan Campbell a few years ago, and I think Kevin Stefanski is going to join him as well as people looking for jobs. Speaking of looking for jobs, the Detroit Lions may be looking for a new OC. We talked about it earlier. Brian Dable was the OC with the Buffalo Bills before he took the job with the New York Giants. Should the Detroit Lions try to lure him over? Now, a mid-season firing is tough. It's tough because you've got Brian Dable, who probably will pull the Robert Saleh. You know what I would do if I was Detroit? I would bring him in as a consultant. That's what I would try to do. Bring him in as a consultant, try to get this guy familiar with the team, and maybe like next year, like, listen, if you don't take a coaching job or if we can keep you from Buffalo, then come here. Now, here's the thing. Buffalo has the new stadium being built. They'll be playing there next year. He's familiar. You see the Robert Saleh thing, how Saleh got fired midseason, went back to the 49ers. I see that for Brian Dable. However, if you want to try something new, right, come on to the D. Come on. It's funny how we were looking at Robert Saleh last year as potentially a new DC, and now we need a new OC, bro. Johnny Morton, after what I saw yesterday, the press conference of him throwing, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that he throw people under the bus, man. That's not how we do things in the D. You take responsibility in Detroit. You don't throw your players. You don't throw people under the bus, bro. So if I wouldn't want a person on my staff that throw people under the bus. Kelvin Shepard, he don't throw nobody. As much as Aaron Glenn, there were things about him I didn't like. He didn't throw people under the bus, right? Johnny Morton was like, he pushed you right in front. He final destinationed you. He was like, boom, I'm going to throw you out there. And at this point, and you know what? Maybe he was feeling some type of way because he already knew during his press conference that he was not going to be calling the plays, that Dan Campbell was. So if I am Dan Campbell, I'm going to try to get this guy to come in as some type of consultant. He can come on over here today. Let me see. Bills might fire their OC. Joe Brady is on thin ice even more than now. I'm a tad worried. Okay, let me see. Morton is a good fit. I agree. Kira says, yeah, Morton has never taken accountability, though, but he'll for sure take credit for anything good. The guy from the chat last night knew Brian Dable was gone. Yeah, I mean, I think we all knew it. It was, to me, it was overdue. So the Giants have decided to part ways with Brian Dable. Could Brian Dable be? Now, I don't think it's going to happen. There are too many things that need to fall in place. We already know. And then think about this, too. Think about this. You know what? I was going to say, think about the personalities of the two coaches. But then again, we had Aaron Glenn. And Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell, man, they had worked together in New Orleans. But these guys had the very similar personalities, and they worked out just fine. 4 years until one got a head coaching job. So Brian Dable could be, I would say, come on, bro. I would say, come on. Because you had that Buffalo offense rolling for 4 years, man. I would say, come on. I don't think it's going to happen, though, because there are too many things that, first of all, it's midseason. I think I'm more upset that the Giants couldn't part ways with somebody. Like, now you need a new coach. And I don't know if they're going to get a new GM, but you need a new coach. We could have used somebody. Bro. Because now the Giants are done. They are done, man. What a world the NFL world is. I'm telling you, the NFL truly does stand for not for long. So we got breaking news that Brian Dable has been fired from the New York Giants after being hired, and he is winning Coach of the Year. And it really does make you appreciate Dan Campbell. It really does, because in 2022, when we were 1-6, everybody was kind of like, is this the guy? We loved this press conference. But we sucked year one, and we knew that was because of Matt Patricia. But we come out the gate, and we 1-6. Historically bad defense. And how, at that point, I know some of us was like, is this the guy? And from that point on, the Detroit Lions have not lost 2 consecutive games, regular season games, since. It's been 3+ years. 53 games since the Detroit Lions have lost back-to-back regular season games. This guy has been deprived Coach of the Year twice. One is now gone, and the other one will be joining him this offseason if the Browns are a smart organization, but they're not. So the Giants show their stupidity. They don't move at the trade deadline. They hold on to their coach way too long, and now he is available to be potentially the OC of the Detroit Lions. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Would you take Brian Dable at this point? Yes, because I don't want Dan calling plays. I think Dan needs to do what Dan does. I don't want that responsibility on him all the time. I think it will work better if he doesn't. You notice coaches that call offensive plays, as soon as something starts going wrong, they want to come in. I don't want him to have that on this play, but let me know what you think. Top of the morning to you, Skillful. We are back, baby. We are back, man. Joe is returning to practice. I think Dable shows the same aggression as Campbell. Not sure expensive his play calling is. Didn't watch the Giants that much. Wait a minute. Joe Burrow returned to practice for what? Yes. Hey, Dynamite. He got fired, bro. He got fired. I just did a video about it. Here is the tweet from Ian Rappaport. They fired him, bro. After you get scatterboo, broken ankle, and then you get your quarterback concussed. Giants finally found their guy. He got concussed, and he's probably, so yeah, they canned him, bro. And that got to be tough for players too, to feel responsible, because you know they do. You know they feel responsible for that. Dable will be a good OC? I think he wouldn't. Aren't Brian and Dan friends? Hey, Sergeant, they might be, bro. Yes. You know what? Zach Taylor. Zach Taylor as well. No. Okay, Dolo. Yesterday it was fake. Today it's not. It was fake yesterday. What do you think about David Shaw? I heard a lot of good things. I heard a lot of things say David might take over next season. He's under contract for 2 seasons, though. I don't know. I've been hearing his name a lot, but I don't know, man. I got to wait till you get in front. Like, if you have if I got to see what you look like. You know what I mean? How was Dable fired? The Dolphins kept their coach. Crazy. Hey. Well, I think it was it was a lead up of things, bro. I think it was the running into the tent. It was Scatterboo going down, and now Jackson concussed, and you lost. And you blew 2 games in 3 weeks that you should have won. Giants should have won that game, man. They opened Joe's clock. That is ridiculous, bro. The Bengals are stupid. They really are. For what? Why? You know what? Maybe, you know what I think? I think the Steelers lost. The Steelers lost is why they opened this clock. Because can you believe that the Baltimore Ravens are in second place? This team started 1-5, bro. 1-5. They are in second place in the AFC North. That's insane. That's insane. That is crazy. And so he's back. So if his clock is open, if they open this clock today, which means that they have to make a decision literally by December 1st. That is crazy, bro. So they said December. What is the Bengals record, man? And they're off this week, right? That is crazy, bro. Joe not rushing him. It's been 3 months. No, it hasn't been 3. It hasn't even been 2. Because he got hurt in week, 3? It hasn't even been 2 months, bro. He's supposed to be back in 3 months. Yeah, but what I'm saying, Tree, is for what, bro? Joe is literally the franchise. This guy, he's been hurt like every other year. If you have a lost season, for what, bro? Your defense is trash. So I'm just saying, why even do it? Why even do it? Flacco threw 4 TDs and lost rush row back. Nothing changes. That's what I'm saying. What about Schottenheimer? Browns coach could be fired. You know what? As a matter of fact, let's do that. I think he is going to be fired. I think he is going to be fired. Okay, so let's look and see who could be on the hot seat. I just want to do this as part of because I enjoy this stuff. So let's see who can be on the hot seat. Who do we think is getting fired? Wow, man, I'm still tripping on Dable. That's what I mean, H. I think their line is worse than the defensive for the Bengals. Hey, it's always been trash, bro. And that's what they get. They took Jamar Chase over Penei Sewell. Giants fire head coach Brian Dable after 2-8 start. Ooh. Hey. Shout out to Daniel Jones. Shout out to Daniel Jones, bro. He got up out of there. He asked to be released. A year later, his coach is fired. Looked like Daniel Jones was not the problem. Looked like he was not the problem, bro. All right. So, okay. Making sure. I had to change my camera because I had it on 4K, but it was overheating. So I had to bring it down to 1080. Hopefully that's not what's causing any type of problems. All right. So what I'll do is tomorrow, if we got enough to talk about, I might get on tomorrow, man. Because I'm only going to be on for an hour. Okay, so let's do this. Let's see who could be fired. Who could be fired by the end of the season? Now, I will say that the playoff machine should be dropping this Wednesday. The ESPN playoff machine drops after or to start week 11. Week 11 officially starts on Wednesday. So we'll be able to do like how the Detroit Lions can do this and that. And I'm looking forward to that. Joe Burrow going to turn into Sanders. Johnny Moe. Buffalo did good under him. Y'all looking from head coach today. No, Schiff, I know. Raheem? Y'all, you think Raheem, bro, could be fired? All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look at who could be fired. All right, we're going to start from the bottom here. So so not surprisingly, the worst 2 teams in the National Football League, the coaches have been fired. So the Titans are looking for a new coach. They got the first pick in the draft. I would assume that the Giants are second. And they're both looking for new coaches. So then you got the Browns and Saints. All right. So this is Kellen Moore, right? Or Mon, whatever his name is. He's on year 1. I don't think he gets fired. Kevin Stefanski, I think he gets fired. So that's going to be 3 job openings. Dan Quinn is cool. Bro, Pete Carroll could be fired. He really could. I don't know if they will, but I feel like he could be fired. So we got 3 for sure. Y'all saying Raheem could be fired. He could. I don't know. I think Aaron Glenn is safe, especially after getting a dub yesterday. I think, who is this? Is this Gannon? Who is the coach here? You think Raheem is next? I think he might because of his incident with the players. That's what I think. Mike McDaniel, he might be safe. No, Kingsbury, bro, he's been gone. He's been gone for years. Remember, he got fired. He took a year off, and now he is the offensive coordinator for the Commanders, I think. He is on the Commander. Okay, so I think Mike McDaniel, I don't know, man. It depends on how the team finishes. If they finish like 8-9 or something crazy like that, I think that he could stay. Cowboys and Bengals. Okay, I think Zach gets fired. It's time. It's time for you to move on and do something else. All right. So what is that? 4 coaches. Okay, Harbaugh, Kevin O'Connell, they're safe. This guy's safe. D'Amico Ryans are safe. Shanahan is safe. Andy Reid is safe. We know that. And then these guys here, I do think that we could have like a weird kind of time to move on pick. And I think that the guy that could happen to would be Mike Tomlin. If the Steelers miss the playoffs or they're one and done, I think that there could, but the Rooneys don't move. They don't do stuff like this. But at the same time, that could be why they don't. But if the Steelers miss the playoffs, it might be time to move on. So I think that we could have a low number of coaches fired after this season. Because I think, real talk, the only ones, you've got the Bengals. I think Zach needs to be fired for sure. I think we're in one of them times, which is crazy because just 4 years ago, his team was in the Super Bowl. I think that McDaniel is iffy. I think that Gannon, he could be as well. Because if you start losing the team, that's when you get fired. McDaniel is canned because the new GM wants their own. That is true. I forgot about that. That is true. Wow. So Brian Dable is now out of a job and still getting paid. I can see Tomlin too. Seems like Steelers need a refreshed identity. You know what, Kiera? And that's what I think too. Mike Tomlin not going anywhere. They only had 3 coaches. Trees. But you know what? That's true. That's true. However, if you listen to Pittsburgh Steelers fans, like actual Pittsburgh Steelers fans, they're ready for a change. I watched Chisel Adonis, and he was upset yesterday. He wiped everybody out because unlike us, and I know it's early. Let me ask y'all this. Mike Tomlin, wait a minute. In 2006, that was Bill Cowher, wasn't it? That won the Super Bowl. So Mike has never won. Is that right? Is Mike Tomlin no Super Bowls? Tomlin said Tomlin still has the Steelers relevant with a bag of bones. He's solid. I think Bengals would be, so Tomlin, what year did he win? Was that 2010? Was that the one against the Cardinals, right? Okay, so he won that one. I'm thinking of, so he won that one. If you are, let's say Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are Mike Tomlin. Try not to be biased here. And we win a Super Bowl. I think it's different for the Lions because we've been so bad for so long. But let's say that it is 2010, and that's when we win our last Super Bowl. And it's now 2025, and all we do is win is 500. Like, would you be ready? Would you think that we need a change? So he lost in 20. So he beat the Cardinals. I wouldn't keep the coach. Well, yeah, it was 2010 from 2009. So, tomato. But I think that it's time to move on. I think sometimes it's like getting stale, right? Mike Tomlin is stale. He's stale. And it is what it is. Like, relevant, cool. The Steelers, to me, will always be relevant. They'll always be relevant. They're the Steelers, right? So, I don't know. I listen to a lot of content, and to me, it sounds like Steeler fans are ready for a change. They're ready for a change. But listen, with that being said, we might be on tomorrow. I don't know what time yet. I'm trying to buckle down on an actual time, but I've got a lot of stuff going on, but we might be on tomorrow. I mean, like I said, this off season, I'm trying to make I'm trying to take the content, the brand to the next level. I know I've been saying that, but I realized that I have to start downsizing. There are some things I'm going to have to change the way I do things. I'm going to have to figure some things out, see how I can take what I have and get the most out of it instead of spreading myself thin across multiple platforms and multiple channels. I might have to rein some stuff in so I can give you the best content possible, right? We're sitting at 5,000 subscribers over here. We should be at 10, 15 right now. So we're going to keep this up. I'm still on the lookout for Pistons creators, the whole nine. We're going to find them eventually, and we are going to, but for now, and you know what? The funny thing is, I actually started watching the Pistons, but they play so much. Like, I didn't even realize they were on yesterday. Like, so they're not playing tonight, right? But then I might try to watch them tomorrow. But it's basketball got so many games. It's like, dog, you know what I'm saying? I got to do some other stuff. So his personality is awful. I wonder what the Steelers said once Rodgers gets escorted to the old folks' home. Think about this. You know what? Yes, it's probably going to be later in the day. The press conference, there's always usually a press conference on Monday. He got to wrap up what was said. So, yeah. But anyway, look, so the name of this track that is about to play is called the Detroiters theme. It is from a show called The Detroiters, and you can find it on iTunes, Spotify, or here on YouTube, all right? May see you guys tomorrow, but I'll see you Wednesday for sure. Go Lions.
And I'm pissing off the neighbors. Whether homegrown or imported, we feeling shorted, cause we waiting on our paper. So next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City, where we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City when we get back on the feet. Yeah, you don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets. Cause when you're in the Motor City, nothing is as pretty as the hustle. You don't know about the D, you don't know about the streets. Cause when you're in the Motor City, everything ain't pretty but it's love though. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City when we get back on our feet. Next time, when they ask you where you from, you gon' say Detroit City when we get back on our feet. Yeah.